everyone, and cheers to you, my friend. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox. I want to take a moment to say thank you to those that have expressed such appreciation for the things that I have shared on this show, particularly the last couple weeks. I've been talking about sex being a birthright and not a privilege. And for those of you that have shared how it really reframed your thinking and it's getting you to a place where you can come to see it as something natural, which it is. It's been hijacked by cultural construct and religious doctrines and things of that nature. But in reality, scientifically, sex is your birthright and not a privilege. That's one of the reasons you realize that no one has to teach you about sex or tell you about it, or from puberty you start discovering yourself, your body, and so forth. And the sad thing about it is that we've been so indoctrinated and programmed, conditioned in our mind with taboos about sex, that we have different mindset, different perspective, different views about what it really is, and we don't really appreciate it. We don't even get to know our bodies. Why? Because we're told that our bodies are filthy and dirty and so forth, and that sex is bad and so forth. And we need to change that. So I am glad that what I have shared is reframing your thinking, because once your mind is renewed, you become transformed in your whole, mentally, emotionally, and physically. But that only comes by knowledge. You have to know, you have to learn it, and you have to acknowledge it, receive it, and so forth. Now, I realize that this show, or what I share, is not for everyone. Not everyone has the maturity to grasp what I'm sharing, and not everyone want to hear. Now, some people also have religious doctrine that blocks them, and they refute this kind of information. Well, your religious doctrine is for you. It's not universal. It's not for everyone. So if you have certain conditioning that rejects talking about sex openly and so forth, then again, that is for you, and this show is not for you. But for those of us with an open mind and continuing to learn and know who we are, it's totally different. We see it as normal. We see it as healthy, or we experience it as healthy. And again, when I talk about sex, I talk about sex in terms of individual, whether you're partnered or you fly solo. And we do that unapologetically. So again, if this offends you, then this show is not for you. And if you're not sure, then again, you have choices. But for those of you that are really getting the gusto out of it, I am glad, because what happens is that you can go back and do your own research. Do your own research to figure out, not to figure out, so that your questions can be answered. All the doubts that you have. And the end of this, later on, we're going to do a little quiz here on the myths that people have about sex and so forth. Because again, we walk around with all these taboos and cliches and fallacies that we don't, are outdated. They no longer apply to us, and they no longer serve us. We are in the 21st century. This is 2025. We have a new mindset. We are relevant. And I encourage you to stay relevant. And for those of you that are, I heard a story this week, which was very sad. And I'm going to just name that person Nancy. Evidently, Nancy was struggling with loneliness, being alone and just being lonely, and having to deal with solitude, not knowing who she is, and and having a hard time reconciling her conditioning, the programming with who she really wants to be. And Nancy just decided to check out. Now, that is a sad story, but it's a real story. And we don't really want to hear stories like those, because there is opportunities to evolve, to grow, to develop for all of us. And, the more I think of it, I talked to my husband and I said, I'm so glad that I am on this path, because I am learning as well. And I just think that if I had continued in the path that I was, which was really, again, influenced by programming and conditioning, mental conditioning and indoctrination and so forth, I would be, on the same path in terms of being ignorant, not knowing and not developing. But now I have this passion for living. I have this passion to really be present, intentional, do things deliberate, create memories, and love deeply, and enjoy the freedom of being who I am. I've come to a place where I have gotten to know me, and I'm still evolving. I'm still learning more about me. And sometimes I surprise myself because, it says that when you know the truth is going to set you free. And that is really true. Not only do you have to know it, you have to receive it, accept it, acknowledge it, realize it's true, and you will see it frees your mind. It opens your mind. It really opens your mind and sets you free, and take away all the cobwebs and all the things and all that stuff that stifles us. As a matter of fact, somebody said the other day, they said, I feel like I'm in a straight jacket with a muzzle on my mouth, on my face. And that's what they said. They feel like they're in a straight jacket. I'm like, what is that? It's like, I just can't move because I've got all these thoughts of, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, I can't go here, I can't go there, I can't be with these people, I can't be with and that's, I can't say this, I can't say that. And it's like they want out. They are in a prison with the door open. And it's just now that they are realizing, wait a minute, I don't have to put up with this. I don't have to, but it takes courage. It takes courage to live. And it all depends on the type of life that you want, because as I always say, you create the life that you want. But we have on the inside of us the things that we really desire. You know the life that you want. And it's not a matter of good or bad, right or wrong. I always say you can do whatever you want to do as long as you don't infringe on the freedom of someone else. And that's how I live my life. And it's fantastic because I come to realize that, some of the things that I want are things that other people want, except that not everyone has the courage to live it, to be it. Like the other day, I was talking with someone about humility, and I have a whole different concept of humility. I think it's such a farce. Nobody's that humble, really. And if it is, it's a performative type of humility, and it's because of, again, traditional conditioning that tells you that humility is something noble and so forth. And people, they do that, but really, plain humble is denying your brilliance. It is denying your whole self-respect, denying your own skills, your talents. Whenever you accomplish something, is dimming your lights for the comfort of someone else. And I don't believe in that. I think everyone should be, you bring people up. If you are at a certain level, you bring them up, or you encourage them, you motivate them, you inspire them, you teach them, whatever. But you yourself, I was talking this morning to my husband about Coco Gauff. And from what I saw, she won the championship, and she had such poise. In the meantime, her opponent was having a fit because I don't know, jealousy, or she was just mad because she lost. But in my mind, what I saw, the clips that I saw, I did not see Coco shrinking or diminishing herself. I think she said something to the effect that she worked hard, she practiced hard because she knew that she was going to be in a different, that the favored was her opponent and that she was the underdog. So she had to not only practice physically, but she had to condition her mind. She had to talk to herself. She had to tell herself that she's great, that she's the best. And I don't know what her mantra was, but the point is, I didn't see that she shrunk. She did not shrink to please the people. She took her win and she acknowledged it. And her parents were there in the background, her family, and they were also celebrating and so forth. And to me, that I see that again, and I didn't see anything. Generally when people win a medal, an award, or something, they outsource that moment of accolades, or they just outsource it to some, giving credit to some, to some system, instead of saying, I put in the work, and I'm glad that it was recognized, and I accept this. And don't even say I accept this on behalf of everyone. No, if it's a personal triumph like Coco, that was hers. So she not in on behalf of the her staff or whatever. That was her win, and she acknowledged it. And that's the way I think when it comes to, this thing about everybody's always say, stay humble. No. And, a lot of parents too, they tell their kids, stay humble. No, you need to tell them, be yourself. Now, if their personality is to be docile and quiet and calm and so forth, then let it be. That's themselves. But if their personality is to, just be expressive and really get into it and express their joy and happiness for their win, then let that be as well. But if you tell them, stay humble, what exactly do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Who benefits from your humility? Who benefits? So that's a lot of things. One of my pet peeves, but something for you to think about. The thing is this, and like some of you have said, I am a provocateur. Alguien que provoca. I provoke you to think. Think on those little things. Think so that you can discover the things about yourself, about your life, the things that no longer work. You don't have to conform with the collective. That's not an easy place. I'm going to tell you right now, because I know that sometimes, because of the way I think, I sometimes try to, sometimes I assume that it's the norm, but it's not the norm. The norm is to fit in. To fit in is like overrated. To fit in is overrated. Everybody wants to fit in. And in my mind, wherever it is that I go, even if I am with someone, one person having coffee, a glass of wine or whatever, I am, my thing is not to fit in. My thing is to have a conversation. We're on equal ground and we have a conversation. If I go someplace and, the energy doesn't match mine, then I am refined enough where I can enjoy the evening, and that's it, because I enjoy people. But I can choose to leave or to redirect my energy someplace else, so forth, and remove myself from that situation. So you don't have to fit in. You don't have to agree with the collective. As a matter of fact, the way I think, the way I see things, it's totally different from the collective. A lot of people. Some people think that I'm out there and they have discerned correctly. Yes, I am out there in the way I think. But guess what? It works for me. Keeps me encouraged, motivated, inspired, happy, joyful, full of contentment. And as I do that, I continue to attract situations. Do you notice that sometimes, you find two different people, with the same background or whatever, and, one could just have problem after problem after problem after problems. And the other one is like they just sailed through life as if they don't have any issues. And that's not true. People like me, which I would be person number two, there's things that come up, but it's how we see it. Something comes up and I'm thinking, well, there's a solution. I'm always thinking if it became a problem, then there's a solution to be fixed. And I don't create a drama out of it. And that's just not the way I live life. It works for me. Why? Because I've gotten rid of well, not all, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that looms around in my mind and in my sphere that sometimes I don't even recognize. And as I recognize them, I keep editing and just getting rid of them. Things that no longer serve me, because you'll be living in 21st century with outdated concepts, outdated ideas, outdated just outdated lifestyle. And what's the best lifestyle? It's the one that makes you happy and content. It's the one that you like. It's the one that makes you feel happy. It's the one that makes you feel happy, confident, assertive, one that is positive, but not surface positivism or surface optimism. I'm talking about knowing who you are, because that's another thing also. My husband used to call me the word police. That's earlier in our marriage, but now he's also, we kind of speak the same language. And I have come to learn the power of words. So I speak what I want. I speak what I desire. I speak what I anticipate. I speak what I want to bring into my life. Amidst all the chaos that is happening around us, I speak what I want to work for me. If you only understood that is the most powerful asset that you have, it's the power of your mind, the power to think, and the power to filter thoughts of fear and worry and depression and anxiety and just burdensome thoughts. You have the power to filter that and get rid of it and replace it. That's why you have to kind of know what you want, where you want to go, and not be afraid to voice it. When you wake up in the morning, you want to have it, you want to decide what kind of day you're going to have. I don't need anyone to tell me have a good day. I mean, that's great, but I decide what kind of day I'm going to have. And I was talking to someone the other day, and they said, we were talking about that, and they said, well, I'm not disciplined, and I just sat there and I said, well, you're becoming disciplined, and then they said, yes, you're right. I'm a disciplined person, and so forth, because they're learning to do that, to have a perspective of voicing what they want in their lives. I'm telling you, the dynamics of this whole mindset thing is something else. It could change your life. And I encourage you, you hear a lot of things, you hear a lot of words, you hear a lot of, the news or social media. You just have to go to the store, you see something happening, and we can be so influenced by that. Now we have to determine, what are we going to do with that information? What are we going to do with, sometimes you see things that you cannot unsee. You hear things that you cannot get rid of in your mind. It's just a thing. So it's up to you. You have to master yourself, master your mind, master your thinking. And for those of you, like Nancy lost hope, but there was no need for that. You have to know, okay, her situation was, she was so lonely she could no longer take it. My friend, you have the ability in your mind, because there are so many wonderful people here on earth. You are one of them. And the same way you are one of them with that need, wanting to meet someone else, you have to understand that that person also exists wanting someone like you. Someone with your traits, your qualities, your characteristics, your personality. They want someone like you. But unless you give yourself a chance. Now, once you convince yourself that that is what you want, then you start taking action in order to attract that situation to your life. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of people. And always understand, tell yourself that you have good judgment, that you can follow your intuition. You can read it. You can know when there is unrest or when you have a green light to go forward, and you can establish relationships with people all over the world. You have the ability to do that. There are beautiful people. There are wonderful people all over the world. And you have no idea where your thoughts can travel and the things that you can attract. There is no need for you to be alone for, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. There's no need for that. Come on, my friend. There's no need for that. There is no need for that. Unless that's what you want. Of course, if you say, well, I'm fine, I just want to, I'm enjoying myself. And what I have learned in talking with people, that's not true. People say that as an excuse. There's this person, Veronica or something. And when I say these names, I create the name simply because I don't, And she said, I am fine. There is no way I would connect with someone else and disrupt my peace, and just some negative things. And come to find out, it's not true. It is not true. That's not really what they desire. They're using that to camouflage their real feeling. And you see, if you're not authentic with yourself, then your subconscious mind does not create thoughts, events, situations. Your subconscious mind takes information from you, your thoughts, your mind, your words, and it processes those thoughts. Your subconscious mind gets the instructions from you. You are the master of your mind, of your thoughts. You are in control. You are in command. You set the stage. Where you are in life today is a result of the thoughts that you entertained yesterday. So we have to learn to master our thinking, master our mind, master our our thoughts, master the habits that we create, the habits, because we have patterns. We need to master it and make sure there are things that's going to help us. I have some habits that I have to master as well. Working on it. I'm certainly working on it, but I'm aware of it. But we have the ability. We have the ability to change that. But the thing is, what I find when I talk with people, as a matter of fact, I was talking with someone the other day, and they were telling me about a situation where there's this person that they met. Well, they knew that person. And that person became a widower, and she's been single for a while. Also a widow, but it's been a while. And she was telling me about this situation, and then she sent me a picture to see the person, and I'm like, wow, this person is a nice looking person, and I could just see them both together. They would just make such a wonderful connection, and she knows the person to a certain extent, and by having met them in the past and so forth, when he was married, and in talking and just talking with that person says, you know what the thing is with me? She says, I am so lonely. But I mean, it was coming from her gut. She shared that from the depth of her heart. And I said, wow. I said, you know what? I feel so privileged that you would feel so safe in sharing that you would feel so safe in voicing that to me. And this wasn't any kind of like coaching situation. This was simply her expressing her heart. And of course, I proceeded to tell her to encourage the situation. And, of course, there's distance between them, 2 different states and so forth. But I encouraged the situation because that's what they needed. They needed to see it in a different light. I says, is it someone you like? Is it someone that you can like? All those questions, those, and yes to all the questions. So then you start the motion. You start doing stuff. You just have to. She did some things because she wanted to make some changes in her life and reinvent herself. And I was just fascinated by that, because when somebody start taking steps to recreate themselves and to do the things that they want for themselves, that is wonderful. Why? Because they are not only evolving, but as they evolve with knowledge, they're making changes within themselves to become the person that they want to see. When you look in the mirror, they want to see the person that they want to be. And to me, that's just fantastic, because they're not seeking validation. They're not asking for permission. They don't need approval. They're making decisions for themselves. And so can you, my friend. Don't wait. People say life is too short. No, people are waiting too long to get started. And when you wait that long, then it's like, you may have things that come upon you. It all depends on how you channel your thinking, and then your life becomes limited. And you don't want that. You want to be able to stay fresh and healthy, and it all starts in your mind. Everything about your life begins in your mind, your way of thinking, whether it's your health, your emotions, your feelings, your thought, all of it starts with a thought. And just to think that you have the ability to govern that you have the ability to channel those thoughts, to create those thoughts, and then channel them in the direction that you desire, that you are in control. Once we get into that place of mastery, and that's, I think in those terms, to master our thoughts and create the life that we want. It doesn't matter what your situation is right now. You have the ability to change it. You have the ability to change it, to modify, change, recreate. And to many of you, myself included, but I'm always seeking for those things that no longer serve me. As a matter of fact, I read something the other day that says, everything, it says papers that you have that you're no longer, you've got papers, stuck in a drawer. You're not going to use those, all the, receipts and all that. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of clothes. Get rid of furniture, things that no longer serve you. If you have a piece of furniture that is not utilized, that is just sometimes even in the way, just get rid of it. Get rid of it. We did that not too long ago. We just didn't like it anymore, and we just got rid of it, replaced it. But get rid of it. Get rid of it. Just feng shui your house and get rid of all the things that no longer serve you. And that includes your thoughts, not just your clothes and your surroundings and your environment, but your thoughts, all those thoughts that no longer serve you. Like I just shared earlier about this thing about being humble, stay humble. Like that doesn't serve me. Who does that serve? I mean, unless you have some kind of programming in your mind, then that's for you. But as a whole, if I say, I'm staying humble or whatever, who does that serve? That doesn't serve anyone. Doesn't even serve me. Why? No, especially me. I'm a person that I am very expressive. I like fun, and if I'm playing, if I'm playing a card game or something, if I win, I'm gonna be excited. And I don't want anyone to say to me, come on, be humble. No, I will be excited. Whether we're playing for money or not for money, whatever. I'm going to be excited. If I win, I'm going to be excited. I'm going to do a Coco Golf. She was excited for that win, which I so loved about that whole situation. So, my friend, it is up to you. It is up to you to determine the type of life that you want. It is up to you to reinvent yourself if you so desire. It is up to you to understand that your overall self-care has to do with everything about you. And with that comes your sexual experience, your sexuality. Pay attention to that. Give it the honor and respect that it deserves. And don't allow yourself to minimize it or dismiss it or pretend that it's not real or true. Again, it's a private issue. I'm just saying to you, empower yourself. Empower yourself to know that you can walk in your birthright, knowing that you're sexual. It's like breathing. Nobody, you don't ask anyone about breathing. You don't ask anyone when you have to eat. You don't ask anyone when you have the need to sleep. That comes upon you and you just fall asleep. As a matter of fact, if you try to stay up or if someone tries to keep you awake, it's painful. If someone tries to keep you away from going to sleep, that's kind of irritating, annoying. It's painful. And when you're hungry, that is also painful. Well, your sexual drive, your sexual desires, that is also something to pay attention to honor, to respect. to give it your attention and not to feel some kind of way when you do. Shame and judgment and criticism and all of that. Sometimes it's not even, sometimes it's judgment on your body. And, with the different seasons of life, we change, and we have, we change. But that's why your mind also has to change to understand and recognize the changes. And, if you find that you need to go and do a little workout, then that's what you do. Do it for you so that you can stand in the fullness of who you are, unapologetically and without excuses. And you will know, you show up and you're happy with yourself. You may not look the way you looked at 20, but who wants to do that? I wouldn't want to go back to when I was 20. I had a fabulous life, during that season. All of my life, it's been great. Yeah. So know, my friend, that it's up to you. What I want to do now is, for those of you that had all these questions about your sexuality and things like that, and I did some research on some questions, and we're gonna kind of talk about it here. And one of the myths that exists in this whole convo on one's sexuality, one of the myths, it says sex drive fades naturally after 50. Is that a true or false? Obviously, it's not true. It is not true. There is hormone shifts, estrogen, testosterone, and so forth, right? That may change. That may diminish a little bit. But then there is medical help, HRT, or you just kind of figure it out, just kind of work it out. I was not interested in HRT, hormone replacement therapy. You can do that, but there's some studies about that I did not want to submit myself to that. So I just, and I'm just sharing that with you. But and again, this between you and I. And so that is not true. That is not true. If you are healthy, my friend, if you are healthy physically, you eat well, you exercise and so forth, I am telling you, you will go to your 50, your 60, your 70, your 80, your 90. I am telling you, that is a fact. Now, if you have some medical situation, you may be challenged with that. But as far as biologically, everything works. Everything works. As a matter of fact, your mind is free because in a certain way, because that you're not going to become, you can't get pregnant. That gives you can't get pregnant, and you don't have that monthly thing that is such an inconvenience in this savage season of our lives. It's totally different. So that is a myth. Don't let anyone tell you that. I talked to some people a long time ago, and they insisted and so forth, and I did not even pay attention to that because I know that is not true. Scientifically, it's not true. Now, again, if you have medical situations, then yeah, you may have some issues, you, your partner, and so forth. But as far as the desires, that is not true. 50, 60, 70, 80. Didn't Al Pacino have a kid he was 70, 80? I don't remember. But the point is, you don't lose that. You don't lose your sexual desires after 50. Another myth is men want sex more than women. And the answer to that is not true. Because the desire for sex is not gendered. It's individual. And often, because of social conditioning, Women may appear to be more, again, more subdued and so forth about sex. But once you understand the dynamics of sex, you will realize, once you get rid of all that debris and all that taboo about sex and so forth, you will realize that women, we are also very highly sexual as well. That constitutes a healthy mental, emotional, and physical wellness. And that's nothing to be ashamed of or something to try to downplay or whatever. No, we are highly sexual. And that's okay. And again, I shared whether you're partnered or not. If you're partnered, great. If you're not, then you fly solo. And that is perfectly okay. You fly solo. But then again, you have to free your mind. You have to free your mind so that you can breathe and not be consumed with guilt and shame and all of that. Myth number 3, sex is only about penetration. The answer is that's a cultural script, it says, not biological, because pleasure, according to the studies, pleasure lives in the brain and the whole body. Touch, intimacy, and emotional connection often create deeper satisfaction than a single act. And that's so interesting to know, because if you take into consideration like touch and intimacy, and whether you're partnered, even if you're by yourself, your touch and to become intimate with yourself, and whether it's a bath, whatever it is that you do, whatever floats your boat, whatever it is that your creative mind conceive and indulge in, it is okay. All of this is private, and that's the whole idea. The people that touch base with me and to say how wonderful or how freeing and empowering this is to them, the understanding is they know that this is a private thing that's between themselves. It's to free your own self, whether it's in your relationship with your partner, your marriage, whatever. It's to free your own self from the taboos of giving your sexuality such a bad rap, because, as I said before, it's been hijacked. We are taking it back. We are seizing back our sexuality, because you know what? Sex is power, and that's all of your overall well-being and the ability to live organically and to be authentic in your whole self. It's getting to know who you are, what makes you tick, what brings you pleasure, how do you classify fun. You determine that. So when they say that sex is only about penetration, that's not true. That's part of it. That is part of it, but it's not as it says here, pleasure lives in the brain. Isn't that interesting? Pleasure lives in the brain. Next myth: masturbation is unhealthy or selfish. The medical consensus, it says it's normal, safe, and even beneficial. It relieves stress, improves sleep, and helps people understand their own pleasure, making partnered sex better, not worse. So masturbation is, as it says here, it's normal, and it is safe, and even beneficial. Helps with your relief stress, helps with your sleep, and it even makes your relationship, your intimacy, your partner's sexual experience better. So don't think that self-pleasuring is bad, or it's ugly, or it's something that is, that is between you and you, or you and your partner. Don't even question it. That's between you and your partner. It's safe and it's normal. You know that. You remember when you were a kid, when you hit that puberty. It's safe and it's normal. Myth number 5, if you're in love, sex should be effortless. The question here says, even great relationships require communication and intentional effort. Stress, health, and life changes affect libido. Honest conversations and exploration keep intimacy alive. And the thing is that some people, I know some women that once they're going through this perimenopause and uh, menopause, their libido drops, and there's some truth to that. There's definitely some truth to that, but that is for a short time. And again, it all, as one of the myths here says, that pleasure lives in the brain. So once you have that understanding that pleasure lives in the brain, you would have the ability to command and to govern and to master even those situations in your body, like your libido. Once you understand how that works, and it all depends on what your situation is. If you have a partner, then it's something that you need to pay attention to, because that is part of your intimacy. That is part, sexual intimacy is part of your relationship. And if you have that situation going on, then you have to know how to what to do. If you have low libido, again, you have the ability to govern your mind, to command, to master your thinking. And I find that period, in my experience, when I talk to some women, they're just having a bad situation, experience physically, biologically, with their bodies and so forth. For me, it was just different, because I have learned to govern my thinking a long time ago. And that's why life has been pleasure. Doesn't mean free of challenges and issues, but just pleasurable, so forth. So to answer that question, if you're in love, sex should be effortless. That is not necessarily true, because as it says here, stress, health, and life changes can affect one's libido. So there that goes. Myth number 6, and this is the last one. Religious or cultural rules define morality for everyone. And the answer to that is, morality is personal. Consent, respect, and honesty are universal. And I always tell people, whatever your religious indoctrination is, that's for you. That if you have a religious mindset, that's for you. Like this program, we are not religious here, or I am not religious. Religion is not, I'm not governed by any religious doctrine. So that doesn't apply to me. And again, I shared earlier, if that's your mindset, then you may not resonate with what I have to share. But according to this, consent, respect, and honesty are universal. Dogma is not. So to that myth number 6, religious or cultural rules define morality for everyone, that is not true. It says your body and your choices are yours to govern. There you go. Your body and your choices are yours to govern. And I shared that, I think I shared last week. Anyway, the point is, it is your body and you have the ability to govern your body. Not anyone else's, but your body. So it's important, as you can see, that we give this whole aspect of our self-care our undivided attention and the respect that it deserves, that we should honor our bodies, honor our whole uh, persona, our whole being. As we come into this place of discovering the our true authentic selves, our authentic selves, so that we can live our lives organically, create the life that we want, and to live it on our own terms, and not to allow things like uh, loneliness to invade our thoughts and consume us to such an extent that we lose hope. Keep feeding yourself the beautiful person that you are, the amazing person that you are, the great personality that you have, the attributes that you possess, your traits, the characteristics that you carry. They're fantastic. And guess what? They're unmatched because there's no other like you. That's why you don't have to compare yourself with anyone else at all. Why? Because you are a unique individual. You are unique in your person. You are unique. And once you understand that, once you understand your identity, then you can continue or begin to flow knowing who you are and getting rid of all the stinking thinking, getting rid of all the cliches, getting rid of all the taboos, getting rid of questioning everything. That's the thing. People don't, we don't question things. I question everything. And then I go looking to see, like, lately I was thinking about, because sometimes I talk about having clarity, and that's good. And I know what it means. But what does that mean, really, to have clarity? When I'm thinking about something, that's my clarity. Sometimes people, they're in a relationship and they want clarity about, they're saying that the person is sending mixed signals, and they don't know if they like them or not. No. You may not want to admit it. You may not want to acknowledge it, but it's clear. If somebody likes you, they're going to call you. They're going to text you. They're going to send you, gifts, or they're going to try to set a date with you to invite you someplace. And if that's not happening, that's your clarity right there. They are not interested, and that is okay, because you know what? The sooner you identify that clarity, then you can move on. Just like if you don't like somebody, you don't like that person, not in any kind of romantic kind of way, but you see that they are texting you all the time, and you're really not motivated to text them back, or to accept the invitation to have dinner or lunch and all that. Then it's clear to yourself that you have no interest in that person, and that is okay. I'm telling you, life is not a matter of good or bad, right or wrong. It is whatever you decide it to be. If you don't like this person, there's someone else over here that you may like, and they may like you back. They may like you back, and you have a great communication, and you meet, and you, as a matter of fact, that person that I shared earlier that talked about the person that is interested in her and so forth. And, I asked her, what is your position? Do you find yourself somewhat interested? And they said yes, but because of past situation, they are, hesitant, a little afraid, and, they don't want to be hurt and whatever. Life is such where you have to put yourself out there. Does it guarantee that you wouldn't be hurt? No. But again, that's why when you get to that level of self-love where you love yourself, then yeah, You may be hurt emotionally in a situation, but then again, you have yourself to fall back on. You love yourself. That's why when people say, like, oh, my husband, the love of my life, that's, I don't, that's another thing of mine. My husband is not the love of my life. I am the love of my life. I was with me since day one. Since I came out from my mom's, I was with me since day one. I'm the love of my life. Now, I adore my husband because he is just a fantastic man. He's just great. I love him. I adore him. And he knows that. I don't have to pretend, because between us, there's great respect and there's a freedom that we both enjoy, that we make it, nice and romantic and exotic and so forth. That works for us. But I wouldn't say he's the love of my life. That's not that, again, those are cliches. If it works for you, then that's fine. But that, I am a person of words, and that doesn't work for me. He is not the love of my life. I'm the love of my life, because I have been with me since day one, and I have been through the ups and downs of my life, and I have been with myself. Now, he's my husband, and I adore him, and that works for me. I'll say that's why I call him my sweetheart. He's my sweetheart. That's his. I don't even call him by his name. I'll say amor, cariño, sweetheart, and that's what it is. So, I know how I would love myself. And even if you go through a heartbreak, then you can always fall back on yourself. Why? Because you know yourself and you love who you are. You love the person that you are. You love the person that you have become. And as you continue to evolve and grow and develop into the fullness of your authentic self, you're going to really show so much appreciation for yourself. My friend, I'm going to leave you with that. Get rid of all the myths on sex, that it's this, that, the other. No. And you decide. I keep telling you decide what you want it to be for you. Don't let society or programming or indoctrination or mental conditioning, cultural construct, don't let any of those things, traditional construct, dictate who you are and what your life ought to be. You are in command. And you must take the reign of sovereignty, total autonomy. I will leave you with that, my friend. Every Thursday we meet right here, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you miss the show, then you can check these icons right here. YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. You can access it 24/7 and so forth. In the meantime, this is October already. It's really so interesting, just the way the time is moving so fast. But they say time go fast when you're having fun, and that's a good thing. You want to make sure that you squeeze the marrow out of life, that you squeeze the marrow out of life itself, and enjoy every moment. Make every moment deliberate and intentional of your life. In the meantime, I will see you next week, same time, same place, and we will have more to share about this freedom that we have come into, this place of freedom, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Things to share about this freedom. So I'll see you next week, same time, same place. In the meantime, have a fantastic weekend. La vista. Au revoir. À tout à l'heure. Hasta la próxima.